couple of decades, Morocco went from being regularly eliminated in the group stages of the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, and failing to qualify for several successive World Cups to sitting inside the top 10 of the FIFA men's rankings, reaching the semi-finals at the Qatar World Cup in 2022 and being considered credible contenders for the sport's biggest tournament this summer. Even more impressive is that the Atlas Lions' success is not limited to the senior men's national team, but has been spread across every age group and category. Karachi. Mayor Mortaza Wahab on Sunday said construction work around Karachi's Hill Park had been halted, while the opposition Muttahida Qaumi Movement Pakistan, MQMP, demanded that the PPP-led Sindh government investigate the matter. Spread over 62 acres and located in PGS, Hill Park was built in the early 1960s and is one of the largest parks in the city. Artificial intelligence is getting expensive, and companies are starting to rethink their embrace of the disruptive technology, playing by a well-worn Silicon Valley playbook. AI companies charged rock-bottom prices to hook customers after ChatGPT burst onto the scene.
South Africa's sports minister has demanded an explanation following reports. The country's football team has been delayed in travelling to Mexico ahead of the World Cup due to visa issues. National broadcaster SABC said an administrative bungle meant some players had not been issued with visas. No other details were given.
A total of 219 people have been injured in clashes between football fans and police across France after Paris Saint-Germain. PSG won the Champions League final against Arsenal. 8 were in a serious condition, Interior Minister Laurent Nunez said. Thousands of officers were deployed to curb unrest that disrupted bus, train and rail services in the capital, Paris. 57 of them were injured.
Hungry and weak, the Laos cave survivors huddled together in damp darkness for 11 days, clinging to hope as a wall of water blocked their way out. When they noticed the water finally start to recede, they somehow found the strength to attempt a daring escape, completely unaided, shocking the rescue team above ground when they appeared at the cave entrance on Saturday. Ukrainian drones have struck energy and industrial targets across several Russian regions, Russian authorities say, in an escalating campaign of strikes against infrastructure. In Saratov, a region on the Volga River with several oil refineries that has come under regular Ukrainian attack in recent years, Governor Roman Basarjan said on Sunday on Telegram that civil infrastructure had been damaged in the overnight strikes.
Malta's Labour Party, Pehel, has won an unprecedented fourth term in a victory for Prime Minister Robert Abela. A sample of vote counts showed preliminary results gave the election to Pehel, officials at the counting hall in Naxar said on Sunday, as fireworks were set off across the tiny Mediterranean island.
Some stories are about growth, others are about survival.
French police detained over 400 people involved in violent clashes in Paris and other French cities that erupted Saturday night after Paris Saint-Germain won the Champions League title. 7 officers were injured as football fans set off fires and vandalized shops, Interior Minister Laurent Nunez said, describing the violence as absolutely unacceptable. One small group even tried to storm a Paris police station.
When millions of foreigners visit Mexico for the World Cup this summer, they will encounter much more than colourful soccer murals, towering statues of players and lively fan festivals. In the country's biggest tourist hotspots, visitors will see tighter security measures and heavier police presence meant to safeguard both fans and Mexico's public image. President Donald Trump sought to change several terms of a proposal to end the US-Israel war on Iran, according to media reports in the United States. As a finalized deal remains elusive, that Trump's changes involve toughening the deal terms, and the US has sent the new framework back to be considered by Iran and, according to officials familiar with the proceedings.
Israel's flag flew over the medieval fortress on Beaufort in Lebanon on Sunday, as it warned Lebanese civilians to evacuate a large area of the south of the country ahead of stepped-up ground operations. The Associated Press noted that Israel's capture of the 900-year-old Beaufort Castle and its strategic ridge in southern Lebanon was Israel's deepest incursion into the country in 26 years.
The Israeli military has captured the Crasada-era Beaufort Castle in southern Lebanon, a site it hasn't held for 26 years, as it expands its incursion deeper into its neighbours' territory. The capture of the castle near the city of Nabatea and roughly 9 miles, 14.5 kilometres from the Israeli border, comes after days of fierce fighting in the area. United States President Donald Trump has told Fox News he is in no hurry for a deal with Iran, as the Israeli army claimed to have captured a strategic castle in southern Lebanon in the deepest incursion into the country in 26 years. The comments come as US media reported that Trump asked for several amendments to the preliminary agreement with Iran during his meeting at the White House on Friday.
Israel has ordered the forced displacement of all residents living south of the Zahrani River in southern Lebanon as it expands its invasion of the country before a possible assault on the city of Nabatea. In a post on the social media platform X on Sunday, Israeli military Arabic spokesperson Avichai Adrai instructed residents to move immediately north of the Zahrani River, warning that anyone who remained in the area risked being killed.
A meteor crashing toward Earth exploded over the northeastern United States on Saturday, NASA said, setting off booms that echo over the region with a blast equivalent to 300 tons of TNT. The fireball broke up over northeastern Massachusetts and southeastern New Hampshire at 2:06 p.m., 11:06 p.m. PKT. The U.S. Space Agency's Deputy News Chief Jennifer Doran told AFP in a statement.
The district authorities in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Naran have issued a travel advisory for Babasar Top, urging tourists, travellers and transport operators to exercise caution and avoid unnecessary travel due to persistent snowfall and hazardous road conditions. The district administration, with a special travel advisory on media platforms, stated that ongoing snowfall across the region is expected to create severe difficulties for travellers. It urged all visitors to verify weather updates before planning any movement towards the mountain pass.
Syria's National Commission for Missing Persons, NCMP, says the children of dentist and former chess champion Rania Al-Abbasi, who disappeared with their parents more than a decade ago under then-President Bashar al-Assad, are likely dead. We have reached reliable and corroborating results that allow us to conclude with a high degree of professional certainty that Dr. Rania Al-Abbasi's children are deceased, the NCMP said in a statement on Saturday.
Rising fuel prices triggered by the Middle East war are driving a sharp increase in carpooling, with a ride-sharing platform reporting a surge in new users seeking cheaper ways to travel. The world's largest carpooling platform, BlaBlaCar, said soaring energy costs have pushed 600,000 additional drivers onto the app this year, 20% more than initially projected, as commuters look to offset the rising cost of fuel. Japan's defense minister has rebutted Beijing's claim that his country is engaging in a new militarism, criticizing China for its military expansion and lack of transparency. Speaking on the last day of a defense summit in Singapore, Shinjiro Koizumi argued it was actually China and its huge arsenal of weapons that was of serious concern to the international community.
Police in France have detained more than 280 people in Paris after violent clashes erupted when thousands poured onto the streets after Paris Saint-Germain's victory in the Champions League final. About 22 Zeros and police were deployed across France for the game on Saturday, including 8,000 in Paris, after unrest marred PSG's win in the competition last year. Paris tram lines were halted, several metro stations shut and bus traffic halted in places in a bid to minimize disturbances.
United States President Donald Trump said he had secured guarantees from Iran that it would not develop nuclear weapons. As reports emerged, he had sent a tougher peace proposal back to Tehran. Any tweaks to the proposal could prolong even further an agreement to formally end the Middle East war and open the Strait of Hormuz maritime route after weeks of efforts to secure a deal. Despite fractious rhetoric and the occasional flare-up of armed conflict, the occasional piftarepwire. Those alarm.
Islamabad, the Federal Investigation Agency, FIA, offloaded 39,786 passengers in 2025 under a lawful, intelligence-driven and risk-based system to curb irregular migration and human smuggling, a top official said on Sunday. Speaking to a select group of senior journalists, Immigration Additional Director General Numan Siddiqui said passenger offloading, often criticized publicly, was primarily a preventive step aimed at saving lives, protecting citizens from exploitation abroad, and safeguarding Pakistan's international image.
Abuja, Nigeria, Okbola thought a fertility supplement she found online might help her conceive. Instead, within days of taking it, she struggled to breathe. Her experience reflects a growing online trade in unverified herbal remedies promoted across social media. Bola, not her real name, who is in her early 40s and has never had children, said she bought the supplement earlier this year and increased the recommended dosage, hoping for quicker results after hearing about it from friends and family.
The San Antonio Spurs, sparked by superstar Victor Wembanyama, have advanced to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2014 by dethroning the defending champions to Oklahoma City Thunder championship showdown against the New York Knicks. The Spurs captured the best of 7 Western Conference Finals 4-3 on Foste Ante in San Antonio and reached into the NBA Finals, which begin on Wednesday against the Knicks in San Antonio.
Police on Saturday detained more than 280 people in Paris after violent clashes erupted when thousands poured onto the streets during Paris Saint-Germain's Champions League final victory. Some 22,000 police were deployed across France for the game, including 8,000 in Paris, after unrest marred PSG's win in the competition last year.
Surgery is also called an operation, and the place where it is performed is called an operating theatre. All types of surgery must be considered serious. A common measure of how serious it could be is whether it will be performed under local or general anaesthesia. The former entails a procedure that does not require long-term hospital recovery, whereas the latter necessitates it because of the surgery, the more invasive nature of the surgery, and the recovery from general anaesthesia.
In last week's column, I discussed how certain Pakistani historians challenged the reactionary national narrative constructed by the state after 1971, when the country's eastern wing violently broke away to become Bangladesh. The post-1971 narrative amplified political Islam, weaving it into what was officially branded as the Pakistan ideology in 1978. Though some historians began dismantling this construct in the 1980s, it took another 3 decades for their efforts to bear fruit.
When Abiy Ahmed became Ethiopia's prime minister in 2018, he offered a clean slate for Africa's oldest uncolonized nation, which had been suffocated by decades of strict state control. His predecessor, Haile Mariam Desalegn, had overseen strong economic growth during his nearly 6-year rule, but continued a historical pattern of using violent crackdowns to crush dissent. This repression sparked years of protests and widened the divide between his government and the public, ultimately leading to his resignation.